the mayor of New York City has solved racism. That's right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tyler Fischer Show. Happy Monday. How you doing? Thanks for spending the afternoon, evening, morning with me, whatever time it is when you're listening. And I respect your choice to listen to this whenever you prefer, okay? I respect all choices, no matter who you are, what you do. I respect your choice. Maybe you're doing fentanyl right now. Maybe you're meditating right now. Maybe you're doing yoga. It's your choice, right? Your body, your choice. So, first of all, I don't know what I'm wearing here. I got the tank top and a suit on. I'm fashion fluid, okay? You know, one day I am homeless, one day I'm a gymnast. Right now it kind of looks like I'm the CEO of somersaults or something. You know, I look like a coach of a all girls gymnastics team, don't I? Right? Which is actually, that's Governor Cuomo's next job. I don't know if you heard. He's going to now be the coach of a all girls gymnastic team, and that's his passion. So I respect his passion. Man, did he get away scot-free. Holy shit. Man, he's still confident. You know, he's doing his press conferences about the hurricane is coming. I will protect you from the hurricane. I can fight it off with my big hands. I will touch the hurricane's grundle, intimidating it so it flies away from the great state of New York. Why does he talk like that? Do you know? Great state of New York. It's such a weird fucking voice. It's a wonderful state. It's like you have to kind of not. Anyways, we won't. I don't need to teach you guys how to do a Cuomo impression. As always, if you'd like to join Patreon, patreon.com/Tyler Talks. Big news. Frankly, we have such big news, and maybe the biggest news we've ever done on the podcast, right? This is, frankly, big league, right? It's big league. And Joe Biden was going to give you the news, but he forgot, frankly. He forgot where he was. He wasn't sure even what state he was in. He wasn't in a great state. He's not in a good state mentally. So I'm dropping this news right now. Okay. I will now be doing one bonus episode. Oh boy. All right. You can say I'm having commitment issues even getting this out. But I'm committing, okay, to doing one bonus episode every week for everyone who joins Patreon. So that means Monday, the audio is going to go up for this everywhere. Tuesday, this episode will be up on Patreon. Wednesday, this one goes live on YouTube. And then either Thursday or Friday, it's going to be fluid. I'm not going to actually give a date for when the bonus episode goes out, but there will be a bonus episode within the week of this one coming out for everybody who joins Patreon. Those episodes, I don't know, maybe they'll be a little more experimental. Maybe I'll try, doing a dang thing in Spanish. Maybe I'll do the episode naked. Maybe I'll have a naked Spanish man next to me doing the episode. I don't know. It's gonna be our little secret if you're on Patreon. Perhaps I will show some clips from upcoming sketches. Like I'm editing a sketch right now. Maybe I'll break it down. Maybe I'll give a tutorial on how to direct a sketch, how to write. It's gonna be, it's gonna be very fluid, but I am ready to really treat this like my job. And I mean, Oh, another thing I'd like to do also is for those episodes, anyone who's on Patreon can send me questions on Patreon. So I'll do a question segment on Patreon. If you submit your questions, I'll pick as many as I can, and I'll answer your questions directly. You could ask me about comedy, about politics, about whatever. The struggles of being a Chinaman, not a Chinaman, a Chinaman, a tiny man in a big city. So I'm excited for that, and maybe there may have been a little pressure to get this going
from a certain someone that may or may not be the mayor of New York, who is now mandating a vaccine to get into to work. So starting September 13th, because of my choice to not get vaccinated as of yet, I will not be allowed to do stand-up comedy. Well, isn't that something? Cheers. Hey. Cheers. But, that's good news for you guys, because now I will be home so much more often, and that's kind of what solidified. I did say I was going to do a bonus episode if I got up to 70 patrons, and I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still kind of, we're dangling there. We're not quite there. We're doing a little dangle. We're not quite there. Not going to do it. So if I'm being honest, which is what I like to do here, that news kind of pushed me a little further, a little faster to say, hey, you know what? Let me make the best of this. I'm not happy about it. I've worked 11 years to get into certain clubs, and now the thought that I will not be legally allowed to go work and do my job is crazy. It's crazy, and I'm not sure I fully processed it. I'm not giving into social pressure. I'm willing to give it up to hold on to my adult decisions that I've made, and so that's just how it is. So it is, it's, I just, man, I mean, again, I'm not going to play a victim here, but I'm just going to talk it out. I spent over a year doing stand-up for free. I worked for free for over a year at comedy clubs because they weren't charging for shows. I think that's the first time I've ever sneezed on this podcast. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. This is episode 32. The first sneeze? I think that's a good sign. I think that means I'm feeling comfortable with you guys. Comfortable enough to just let my body do it. I just start activating all the things in my body. So Gesundheit. But I worked for free in the clubs for a year. And I was happy to be out. I was happy to do something. But, all these clubs had GoFundMes. They raised tens of thousands of dollars for their employees. None of it went to comedians. We're barely making a living wage doing stand-up. There's no union for stand-up. Like at a good club, maybe you make $100 a night, at like one of the best. So, I worked for free, went into these clubs, and they were doing shows illegally. To be frank,
right? We know Frank. He's so honest, right? We call him Honest Frank. That's why we say, to be frank. And we know this. Frank knows it. He's a great guy. Right there, Frank. Look at him. So strong, so Frankie. So frank, so forward.
And these were illegal shows. So for a year, doing illegal shows indoors as the performer, the only one without a mask on. Nobody's vaccinated. Now the death rates are low. They're very low. Yada, yada, yada. I don't even want to fucking talk about it. My point is, it's not the comedy club's fault, but it's just funny to think like I went and put my life at risk to go and make people laugh and to work for free, and now I'm not allowed to work. So, c'est la vie, la di la, da da, life goes on. I'm going to make the best of it. And so that's it. I'll be doing this for everyone on YouTube, and then anyone who can afford to pay $5 is the minimum amount. So that's, you're paying $1.25 a week for 2 episodes plus all the other comedy I put out. Everything goes into that. I just funded an entire sketch. Me, another actor, a guy who filmed, amazing equipment, funded it, bought props, everything. I'll be editing it for probably a week straight. So I'll be spending, I don't know, 70 hours probably all told on this sketch. So that all is part of it. And I know I'm doing the NPR like quarterly pledge drive bullshit right now, which I hate on NPR, but this really will be. And if you do like my comedy and like what I'm doing, or at least are trusting me with my journey, which I appreciate, then this would be the best way to help keep me going. And now brings me to my next point, which is I know that there's a lot of negatives to this. Like, for instance, 72% of black people in New York City are not vaccinated. Therefore, 3/4 of black people in New York will not be allowed to go in a restaurant starting September 13th, will not be allowed to go to the gym, will not be allowed to work in most cases. So now, how much will that move the needle? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but it's certainly not going to be a ton, you know? Maybe you'll sway 10% of them, perhaps, maybe more. I don't know. But the good news that I mentioned in the beginning is that, you know, look, there's talk about racism all the time, and you hear, you know, oh, black people get treated differently, and the cops treat them differently, and even when they go in a store, the store clerk will follow them around because they're black and because of racism. Well, the good news to come of this, and I'm all about finding the good news. The good news, if not fantastic news, is that black people no longer have to worry about being followed around in a restaurant or in a store due to racism, because they won't be allowed in the first place. I mean, it's brilliant, and I'm thinking, why is de Blasio doing this? And finally, his brilliance, he couldn't hold it back. It's seeping through, and it's just so evident he's doing it to solve racism. And he should be given an Emmy or a grant. What is it, an Emmy? Yeah. I think we should give him Cuomo's Emmy, you know? Which, by the way, is he allowed to keep that thing? What's the return policy? So anyhow, cheers to de Blasio for solving so much racism in such a quick mandate. So I support that. Also, I put that joke up on TikTok, and I am now suspended from TikTok for quote-unquote hate speech. For defending 72% of the black people in New York, I'm suspended from TikTok. So things are going great. Things are just going so good. It's not making me more extreme. It's not. No, that wouldn't happen from not being allowed to work and getting my jokes removed. That's fine. It's all fine. It's all fine when you got a nice cup of coffee. So that is what you hear so often. It's like, that's the big thing, right? When people are fighting about, are calling for more equality in the lens of racism, I hear two things. I hear black people are mistreated by cops, and they're followed around stores. Those are like the two main talking points that I've heard. Okay, so how do we deal with the cop problem? We shamed cops. We hate cops. Cops were cheated. More black people got killed. That's just the fucking reality of it. And so that's taken care of. And now, because most black people won't be allowed inside, we take care of the store thing. And what's going to happen there? Are they going to feel more wanted? What would you rather have? Occasionally a black person being followed around a store, or not allowed at all? Which one is more racist? Which one? I don't know. Do 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 do. The answer is not being allowed in the stores, Alec. Oh, he's dead. That's fucking weird, isn't it? And I get the new guy, the new Jeopardy guy. He got fired for saying something on a podcast. So what do you know? Another thing that I think is going to get pretty awkward. Every storefront in New York, every cafe, every bar, a lot of them, unless it's like a 5-star joint. They got their BLM signs, they got the rainbow flags, just virtue signal after virtue signal after virtue signal. But that BLM sign is right there. And, I've always wondered, well, how long do you keep those up? I've asked before, is it like a Christmas card? What's the statute of limitation? What's the limit? How long do you, when do we think Black Lives do matter? And if so, do we then take the signs down? Well, I recommend, just a light recommendation, any store owner in New York should probably take those signs down immediately. Because how awkward is that going to be when droves?
Frankly, droves. They're coming in droves. The blacks, and they love me. So many. I saw 2 blacks at my rally last week, and there was millions of people there, and there was right there going black, and they're there, and you can't deny it. What are they going to do?
What are they going to do when they go to bring their family to a restaurant and they're told, you cannot come in because you're not vaccinated? And then they're going to look over and it's going to say, Black Lives Matter. They go, well, wait a minute. I thought our lives matter. Why do they not matter now? Why does our individual choice not matter now for our decision to not get vaccinated, whatever that decision may be linked to? And, of course, because this is what the fucking left or far left or whatever you want to say always does, they'll go, well, it's the black people feel this way. They're not getting it because of the tests that were done on them. And like, yeah, that might be some of their reasons. Some of them might have that reason, but some might just go, I've looked at the data and I'm young and I'm healthy and I survived COVID. Like there could be a bunch of reasons. But I just got into a fight with a woman at a stand-up show, like a little debate. But I polled the crowd and I go, who wants these vaccine mandates? And everyone's like, yeah. I go, so tell me, yeah. So clap if you think you need to show proof of vaccine. And everyone's like, yeah. And I go, so the rest of you must be black then. And everybody laughed. And I'm having a lot of fun with these types of polls and stuff on stage, because when everyone laughed, that means they knew exactly what I was talking about. The laugh was a show of recognition that they understood, okay, 25% of the crowd laughed. And when I said the rest of you must be black, that means they were saying, oh my God, yeah, we recognize that most black people in New York aren't vaccinated. So then these are probably the same virtue signalers who have the BLM stuff and, are marching and protesting. So how can you have both? How can you have that and then laugh at the fact that 72% won't be allowed inside? Why? Because this virtue signaling shit is such a fucking baseless, foundationless nothing. It's a nothing. That's why I don't take part in it. I have no part in it. I never. I put the black square up, took it down a day later because I'm not doing this. I'm not going down that road, because if you put anyone on a pedestal, especially an entire race of people where you go, let's put them up there. We're not allowed to criticize. We're not allowed to question. Let's listen to them. Let's listen. They don't need to hear about us. They're the oppressed. Well, guess what? Sooner or later, you're going to have to knock them down from that pedestal. It happens with anything. Someone new that you're dating, you're like, oh my God, they're perfect, and their legs are made of solid gold, and they're shimmery in the daylight, and she likes all the same music I like, and we both love Seinfeld, we're quoting it all the time, and oh, wait a second, she does fentanyl. That's going to be a problem. Might have to take her down from that pedestal. Yeah, I'll bring her down a few notches. Oh, she's wonderful. She cooks and she cleans, and God, the sex is amazing, and she's just a goddess. Oh, wait a minute. She wants to be in an open relationship? Oh, God. Oh, that hurts. That's actually exactly what happened to me. the last girl I dated, which has been I haven't had a girlfriend in 4 years, and that's exactly what happened. It was like, she's perfect in every way. We love each other and everything. And then one day she looks at me, she's like, yeah, I think I want to have this be an open thing. And I literally walked her outside, shut the door, and I started sobbing, and again, it's like, you can't put anyone up on a pedestal. So that's exactly what's happening okay, now I'm having some recall here from that moment. Sorry, I'm a little triggered. Let me just take a sip. The BLM days are over. I'm sorry. You can't have both. You can't have both. And I don't hear anyone opening up the discussion to why. Let's listen to why. It was a discussion when Trump was president. In fact, there's a great montage that I'll try to find. I'll put a note in here because I always say I'm going to put something up and I forget. But there is a montage. There's a montage of Biden, of Kamala Harris, of tons of media outlets going, yeah, black people probably aren't going to want to get this. And we understand it. You know, they're skeptical of the government after the government testing vaccines on them. Well, so we get it. And Kamala Harris was, after 40 minutes of cackling, going like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I could trust it. And then there's a clip of Joe Biden literally saying, who's going to take the shot? If Donald Trump made a shot, who's going to take the shot? Who's going to take a shot? Who would take the shot? Literally over and over. Who would take the shot? Him saying who would take this thing. And now Biden's president. And all of that is off the table suddenly. All of that. So anyone listening to that who was like, yeah, okay, that is, they got my back and I don't trust it and I'm not going to take it for X, Y, and Z. And now the tables have turned and political power supersedes any of that compassion that came before. That's what's happening. The political power has now become more important than the virtue signaling. So I am anxious as to what's going to happen. And again, I'm going to figure it out. So I'm not going to fucking sit here and cry. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do more podcasts. I'm making more stuff than ever. I'm so excited for the sketch. I'm going to try to have it edited. It's a big piece of work. So this was a big project that I've got over an hour of footage that I have to edit down to about 3 minutes. So I have to cut 53 minutes out. So it's a fun nightmare. I love it. And I got the new computer, so I'm pretty much editing all day until this thing's done. But I'll make more. But what I'm trying to figure out is like where do my morals come in here? And I'm not like fighting for black people here. I don't want this to be about race, but it just happens to be a pretty big chunk of people. So it's not insignificant. And also, I think why I'm talking about that so much is because of the hypocrisy of it and how it's been shoved down our throats. It's like, sit down, shut up, whitey, listen to black people. Everyone's oppressed. And now I listen to everybody. Whoever I talk to, I'm listening to them. I'm reading their face. I'm having a conversation. I'm judging them by their character, not by their skin color. I don't care. But so I've always done that, and I continue to do that. And those conversations now that I'm having with the conversations that I do have with black people, I will ask them about the vaccine because I'm curious. And I took a cab ride with a guy from South Africa, an Uber. And God, this guy was fucking brilliant. I went and looked. He's got like a huge following on Instagram. Absolutely brilliant. And explained like, he escaped South Africa. He goes, I know exactly where this is going. This is for him. The reason to not get it was mostly because of the fear of giving into government pressure and how they could take advantage of that and continue to push more mandates. And we got this app now. You think they're just going to leave that be? Are you kidding me? We have an app now where you're showing your medical records to get inside a fucking restaurant. I don't see that ending. I only see it spiraling out of control where then they add more things and more things and more things. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I pray that I'm wrong because nobody's ever survived in a civilization like that. Ever. So I don't know. But I'm polling crowds and people are really excited about this. And I think part of it is they're enjoying the shaming of the unvaccinated. That's the vibe I get. There's a power in this. Ooh, we're on the right side here. We're on the right side. And anyone on the wrong side, shame on them. So we'll see where it all goes. I honestly think this is going to be the biggest racial divide since Jim Crow. And with a number that large, I don't see how that's incorrect. Since the Jim Crow era, there has been no these types of people can get in and these can't. Aside from, of course, you have to be 21 to get into a bar. But there's never been anything like, if you do this thing, you can get in. If you don't do this thing, you can't get in. that's been mandated, and that I think it's $1,000 fine the first time, $2,000 if you get caught and you're not vaccinated, $1,000 the first time if you get caught, $2,000 the second time, and I think $5,000 the third time. So the mayor seems pretty adamant about enforcing those laws, yet you can literally steal a car and be let out of jail the next day or that night. So I don't know. I don't know where this is all going. But I will say if Donald Trump gets let's say roughly a 72% increase in his votes from black people in 2024, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. The majority of black people have always, or in recent years, voted Democrat. Most of them. I think it's 90%. Maybe more. But I think this is going to really cross a line for people. Because there's nothing like actually feeling like you're outside of civilization. You're a second-class citizen. That kind of rejection and shame, I think, is going to have a profound effect. I mean, I feel it already just from being around these conversations. And, comedians are very opinionated, so they're pretty, they're pretty punchy conversations. But I don't feel part of society right now. And part of that's my own shit, my own insecurity and whatnot from not feeling accepted during different points in my life. But I've healed really well from that. I've been doing really well confident-wise over the last few years, but it's shifted in a big way like it's never shifted. I'd say mostly I felt like an outsider for being short. Like I always felt like, I'm not part of society. And I think part of it's that I'm physically just not even part of the party. You know what I mean? Like I'm usually a foot below. I hang around mostly men. I'm at comedy clubs. There's way more men doing stand up than women, and even the women that perform, some of them that are very tall. So I'm like a foot below everybody, and I'm always kind of like, I'm not really there. I'm not on the same page. I can't really see the concert. I'd have to ask a friend to sit on their shoulder. So I always felt removed from society, and now I feel even more removed. And then the political shame I got for making fun of Fauci and being called right wing, and now I'm an anti-vaxxer even though I'm not. All of these labels and stuff, it's a yucky feeling. It's not a good feeling. But what keeps me going is that I've thought about all this very critically. None of this was a kind of spur of the moment decision. So I'm just hanging on. That's all I could say. I'm hanging on, and I think Trump's gonna run again. He's gonna run in 2024. What do you think, though? Do you think he just won't be able to access anybody without being on Twitter? Unless maybe he asks the head of the Taliban to endorse him and tweet for him, because the head of the Taliban is allowed on Twitter. The head of one of the biggest terrorist organizations of all times, who's going to be gearing up to, work on the next 9/11. He's allowed on Twitter. Trump's not. So maybe he can get a nice endorsement from him and
do a great deal. We're doing great deals. We'll give him the oil. We'll give him the oil.
I never even know what he is talking about, but he talks about oil.
We should have taken the oil. They gave them the oil.
Funny word in his voice.
Oil. They gave them the oil. We had so much oil. Oil. Oh.
You just have to move your mouth.
Oil. She was so oily. Look at Nancy Pelosi. Her face is so oily, so droopy, so old. It's oily and old.
I don't know. I'm speechless. I find myself speechless occasionally. Lacking speech. But you know what? I think the best thing to do to stop any racial divide, and no one No one will be honest about this on the left-wing media. But the best thing we could do, well, certainly is not keep the majority of a race out of businesses, is encourage fathers to remain in the household. The data is crystal clear. There's a matching correlation on a graph with men without fathers and crimes committed. It's like a match. The line is parallel. But again, we're never gonna go there and get honest about it. Obama started to be honest about it, and then he switched and played the victim because it's just easier. It's way easier to just play the victim than get honest. But 1 out of 3 men in this country are without a father at the home. That is staggering. Fucking staggering. And it's only going to get worse with this new woke war on family and overpopulation, and no one's going to want to have kids, but women still will, so they'll still have kids, but it'll be a less committal relationship. It'll be polyamorous, non-fluid, but non-biodegradable, questioning relationships, and so there'll be less and less and less fathers in the house, and things will get worse and worse and worse until someone starts to have an honest talk about the fact that you need a fucking dad in the house. And not to say there aren't single moms that are killing it and have raised wonderful men, but the majority of crimes committed by men in this country are those without fathers in their home. Probably talked about it. I went off the deep end when my dad moved out, and now, thank God he split the time with my mom. And that's the best thing you can do. I just listened to a great talk about the effects of divorce, but the best things you can do, my family nailed a couple of them, are 1, split the time evenly. 2, live within 20 minutes of each other, the mother and father. The farther away they live, the worse it is, because then you're more removed from your friends, and then you miss out on birthday parties, and you miss out on all sorts of events. And the third thing, so they got those 2. The third thing is not talking shit about your ex-spouse to your kids. That one is huge, and that one they did not do. And that one really fucked me up. And it was so good to hear someone kind of lay that all out, because that's something I've been struggling with for a long time. It's why I like trying to keep the peace everywhere, no matter where I go. But the psychologist explained, if the mother goes and says, "Oh, your dad is a lazy piece of shit," and he's so angry and he's such an angry man, the kid will then go to the dad and feel all that and go, "Oh, he's an angry piece of shit," and then he'll want to tell his father that, go, "My mom said these bad things about you," but he won't, because then the father will tell the mother that the kid told on her, and then she will trust him less, and then there'll be more of a divide and more of a mistrust, and then his love from his mother will decrease because she'll see him as a traitor. And this stuff has profound effects on kids, and I can pinpoint all of the ways that has screwed me up so bad. Like secrets, like I'm so secretive. I keep so many secrets, and that's part of it. I became really good at keeping secrets. Okay, she said that. Okay, so lock that away. Don't let that get out. Okay, he called her a fucking whore. Okay, let's stuff that in here. And then it became this like constant sort of trying to organize different, secrets and attacks and all that stuff. And so those are the 3. If you're divorced or you're getting divorced, remember that. The best thing to do, and then the other one is, if you're a dad and you leave, your child will probably become a criminal or drop out of school, and you can go fucking look those numbers up. They're crystal clear. But you want to live within 20 minutes. Don't be selfish and move to fucking South Africa or Mexico or something. You want to split the time evenly, and you want to never say anything negative about your ex to your kids. That is so fucking selfish and so damaging. You have no idea. Well, you do, because I'm telling you, because old T-Bone felt the effects. But that's the biggest problem right now in this country, I think. Fatherless homes. That's one of them. I'm not talking about Afghanistan today. I made a decision. I will not talk. I'm just kidding. I have nothing else to talk about. There's 3 things happening in the world. Vaccines, Afghanistan, and I don't even know if there is a third. COVID, Afghanistan. What is the third? I don't think there is. Is there? Coffee? The second largest commodity in the world? That should be it. So, it's a nice change. It's a nice change of pace. I don't say that in a cynical way. It has been a relief. It has been a relief that every second of every day isn't about COVID and vaccines and non-vaccine. It's like, I'm not making light of the situation in Afghanistan. I'm just being brutally honest. It is so fucking nice to have a week away from it, the obsession about it. It's refreshing. And I take no pleasure in it. I fucking cried yesterday. I was watching footage of these women crying. Like, just preparing for what could be a life of absolute hell and torture and sex slavery, just like on the back burner, waiting to get served up to them if they don't get out of the country. I fucking sobbed my balls off. And then seeing that he's either 17 or 19-year-old soccer player clinging to the plane and falling from 2,000 feet in the air to his death, a 19-year-old or 17-year-old soccer player. Why did he do that? Because he knows damn well he will not be playing soccer anymore. And that's his life. You know? If there was some impending thing heading towards New York where I could no longer do stand-up again. Oh, wait. Spoke too soon, didn't I? Well, I'm not comparing. I am comparing it a little bit. I'm not saying, like, I still have an outlet. That's why I can do this. Like, I can't, like, play soccer like on a podcast, you know what I mean? It's just devastating. It's devastating. But also, I do find it interesting that the media has not talked about COVID at all in Afghanistan. There's no mention. Think about how obsessed they are. When they see a group of people, they see a Trump rally, they see a party in the park, they see a small concert, they see this or that, anything except a Black Lives Matter protest is absolutely atrocious and a murderous super spreader event that's killing all your grandparents. Now, you have massive groups of tens of thousands of people outside the airport, in the airport, gathered, no masks, no mention of them being vaccinated, and not a peep. I mean, how hypocritical. And I know this is like a crazy world event and one of the craziest to happen in a long time. But when you're making the claim that COVID is the biggest threat to the fucking world right now, wouldn't you think you'd mention it at least once and go, by the way, I know some of these people might be getting flogged and stoned to death and beaten and it's terrible, but also the real threat here is COVID. I'm just saying that would be the logic based on the amount of fear-mongering and certainty that they're putting on COVID literally being a mass murderer. And if you're not vaccinated, you are a part of a mass murdering operation. Why wouldn't that be a bigger threat? You know? They said upwards of 20 people have died, being trampled. Aren't thousands going to die because of COVID based on your fucking reporting? And so it's just weird to have that like immediate contrast just stop like that. It just was off the table immediately. And I guess that's what I mean by it being kind of like refreshing. Like let's take that and bring it to our country and stop obsessing about it. Okay? Now, Biden has said, I don't know how to endure the chaos. I don't know how this happened without the chaos. President Biden, could this have happened without such chaos? I don't know if it's going to happen without chaos. How does that happen, Jack? We were a corn pop. We said it can't be chaotic. We told you that in the beginning. For a corn pop to the chains. You said it should be chaotic. That's what I did. That's what I said. The amount of contradictions that he has made in the last week are staggering, and the fact that the mainstream media are now calling him out and pressing him, again, back to the putting a race or a person or a political party on a pedestal, you will have to knock it down, and it was just a matter of time before they fucking cut him off at the knees, and that's exactly what they're doing. People are going, I'm out, and people are distancing themselves from him at a rapid rate, and it was a matter of time. And it's even more shocking to see how really they're holding him to account, because they haven't done it at all. So it's such a large disconnect from what they've been doing. They've been down here, like, hey, what's okay? Like, it's just a question. I'm gonna head out. It's a 1 week. The 4th of July week, I'm going to go German weekend. They go, okay. No one's pressing him. Now they're like, what's wrong with you? Like, as he's walking out, how can you do this? What do you mean? And he just bumbles out, doesn't answer questions. And so I just don't understand how he can say this. Well, here's one contradiction. He was like, no, it's not going to be like Saigon. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. There's really no scenario where people are going to have to be evacuated or taken out from helicopters, like Saigon. Okay. Completely wrong on that. So then he goes, I don't know how this could have been done without chaos. Two polar opposite things. My guess, more than the cognitive decline of Joe Biden, my guess is he is a full-blown narcissist. That's just one. This is one little thing that I'm examining here. Been around a lot of narcissists. I'm in a business where there's a lot of narcissists. I grew up around a lot of narcissists. I myself was battling with narcissism until I got into 12-step programs, and then fucking got on my hands and knees and begged for help and surrender my will and my power every single morning when I wake up. So I know it, okay? And the way I watch him kind of weave these questions, and it's, to me, that's what I'm seeing is narcissism. They'll go, he'll say, yeah, he has a deflection for everything, but he's so good at it. He's bad at it and good at it at the same time. It's very confusing. Like to say, is it going to happen? It's his tone. You got to listen to his tone. Some people say this could end up like Saigon. No, it's not going to be like that. There's no way. It's not going to be like that. It's not going to happen. There's no scenario where that's going to happen. He's so certain and emotional, and he does a good job of like kind of pushing it back and putting it in a corner. And then they do it with a contradictory question of how can you do this without, could this have been done without chaos? No, there's no way. I don't see how there's any way. He's like a child in that way. Who ate the cookies? I don't know. It could have been a mouse. They could have came in. Why are there cookies on the ground? How am I supposed to take cookies out of the jar without cookies crumbling? You put the jar up so high that I'm dropping cookies. It's your fault. Oh yeah, maybe it is. So he's so good at it, and I think it's just he can't be wrong. How could it be done without chaos? Well, I don't know. Maybe he could have told people. They didn't announce that they were leaving. Hey man, how was your vacation? Oh my God, it was fucking chaos. Your vacation to Spain? What do you mean it was chaos? Dude, it was chaos. My family didn't get in the car, so we're late to the airport to go on vacation to Spain. They don't get in the car, so I'm just going. Now I'm alone, and I leave. My family's at home, all 5 of them, and I'm on the airport, and now I'm flying to Barcelona, and I'm in Barcelona for a week, and they fucking went nuts. We're getting a divorce, and it's absolute chaos. Wait, did you tell them you were leaving to go to the airport? No. I just walked outside, got in the car, and drove to the airport, and went to Spain, where we're all supposed to spend vacation. I didn't tell them, and it's chaos. Do you think you should have told them that you were getting in the car to leave? I don't see your point here. It's all black people's jobs. So I don't see your point. My point is you should have fucking told them you were leaving. Well, speaking of leaving, I'll leave you on this, guys. As I said, it is Governor Cuomo's last day as governor. And I just want to say a prayer for him. There we go. That's more of a visual prayer you'll have to watch on YouTube. And I do understand, a lot of people hate Cuomo. A lot of stuff has happened, but he has people that care for him and that work for him. And a lot of them, some of them might be losing their jobs. And what I understand is that this is going to be a very touching day for everyone who's around him in arm's length. So I'll leave you with that dad joke. Now, as I said, guys, if you join Patreon, you're going to get a bonus episode every week. It's going to be a nice little, mystery box of whatever that video will be. But I'm excited. I'm committed, and this is going to be part of my way of dealing with not performing. Though I will give you a hot tip. There is one comedy club that is going to let me perform because they are very, very, very against the vaccine mandates. I don't want to spill the beans here because I don't want to say who they are and get them in trouble. But I will say that if you see me posting that I'm performing, it's most likely going to be at that club. Now, there might be some other underground shows who don't care. That is the upside. There are shows on rooftops. There are shows in backyards. There are shows at bars and stuff. I probably won't be able to do those, but there is one place that absolutely supports my right to not get vaccinated, and I love the club. So it's in Brooklyn. That's all I'll say. Okay, and I was going to film a comedy special at a comedy club, which I don't think is going to happen now. So I'm going to reach out to this place and see if I can record my comedy special there. And I'd like to do it sooner rather than later. It'll be announced on Patreon first because I want anyone who lives within the New York area to definitely have the first opportunity to come see that live taping. And like I said, if you're not vaccinated, you can get in, you'll be fine. And to be honest, I'd rather do it at a place that's not going to discriminate against a portion of the population. So all of that's coming together, and I'm excited. I'm going to try to do it soon in case there's lockdowns again, which I anticipate there will be because government control and everything. So I'll keep you posted on that. Patreon.com/Tyler Talks. I appreciate anything you can do, and I will reward you. And I'm starting that reward this week, okay? The train has left the station. We're all in, baby. We're doing this together. Have a great week. Do something nice for yourselves. Ciao. See you soon. Bye.